The day I met the alien queen, I already thought I had seen death too many times. I was wrong. Her name was Vaelari Vaith, sovereign of the Vaelari Empire, a civilization whose very biology had evolved to endure conditions no human could survive. Their bodies were reinforced with bioceramic exoskeletons, their reflexes lightning quick, and their minds capable of anticipating entire battle strategies before a human could blink. I was an infantry sergeant, part of a reconnaissance unit sent to infiltrate Vaelari space after a sudden ambush had decimated half of our fleet. The mission was suicide, but we had no choice. The council demanded results, and I was disposable. We had penetrated the outskirts of Zalara's citadel, a floating fortress of shimmering obsidian and energy lattices, when the ambush hit. They came at us in waves. Sleek, clawed warriors whose very presence shattered morale. I fired my pulse rifle until my fingers burned, dodging plasma arcs and crushing strikes. By the time I realized I had been separated from my squad, it was too late. I fell into a trap. Literally. The floor gave way beneath me, dropping me into a chamber I later learned was designed for executions. My spine slammed against jagged obsidian spikes, ribs fracturing, wrists dislocated. Pain flooded every nerve, yet even then, I refused to scream. The Vaelari were curious about human endurance. They loved testing it. A soft hiss echoed through the chamber, and the air shifted. She entered.
Vaelari,
The alien queen. Her golden eyes scanned me with clinical interest. "They tell me humans cannot withstand this much," she said, her voice like molten steel. "Are you still alive?" I laughed. "Middle, breaking and remaking. I know what you're thinking. Pain makes people weak. Most of my squad would have cried out, begged, or surrendered." I could hear the Vaelari soldiers muttering as she approached, disbelief, disgust, amusement. But my body wasn't giving up. My mind refused to give up. I could feel every bone, every tendon screaming. But I had learned something in my training. Pain is a guide, not a master. And so, I did something none of them expected. I began to methodically reset my own bones. Starting with my wrists, I twisted and adjusted until they clicked back into place. I straightened my fractured ribs with slow, deliberate pressure. My spine, shattered in 3 places, I aligned vertebra by vertebra, ignoring the screaming nerves. Each motion precise, practiced from years of field training and sheer necessity. Vaelari eyes widened. Whispers turned to gasps. And through it all, I laughed a low, ragged sound that bounced off obsidian walls. Zalara's golden gaze sharpened. "Do you not fear pain?" she asked, stepping closer. Her armored boots hummed against the floor. "Humans are fragile. Your species does not survive this unbroken." "I don't survive," I said through gritted teeth. "I adapt." The queen crouched slightly to examine my shoulder, which I had realigned with my own hands. "Curious," she murmured. "Your bones, they obey your will. That is unnatural." "I learned early," I replied, cracking my jaw to release tension. "Pain doesn't define me. My choices do." She studied me, silent now, as I stood slowly. By the time I straightened fully, the chamber was still. Every Vaelari soldier present had frozen mid-motion. The queen's lips parted slightly, a reaction I interpreted as caution, or perhaps shock.
"The test."
Vaelari wanted proof. She extended her clawed hand, a pulse blade gleaming along the edge. "Then show me," she said. "Show me your limits." I didn't hesitate. She struck with blinding speed, aiming for my shoulder and torso simultaneously. But I was ready. Twisting mid-motion, I absorbed the impact through my reinforced, self-aligned skeleton. I felt the blades graze bone, heard the sickening clicks, but I did not falter. The queen stepped back, eyes wide. How can this be humanly possible?" she whispered. I smiled. Because I don't see what's human or alien. I see survival. For the first time, she hesitated. And in that pause, I realized something crucial. She respected strength above all, and she had just met it on her terms. Middle, shifting power. Word of my endurance spread quickly. I became an anomaly, a discussion point in the Vaelari High Council. A human who laughs through broken bones, they said. A human who will not yield. Vaelari began summoning me repeatedly. Tests, missions, interrogations, and strategies. Each one designed to see if my body, my mind, or my will could fail. None did. I realized then that I had become more than a soldier. I had become a symbol. Other humans, prisoners, survivors, and spies heard of my survival and endurance. They whispered stories of the human who refused to break. Some escaped their captors because guards feared retaliation. Some simply survived longer, inspired by what I had done. But Vaelari's interest was more than curiosity. She began assigning me to missions alongside her elite troops, humans and Vaelari alike. I led squads in operations that no human should have survived. I endured environments designed to kill us all. I endured the Vaelari expectation of obedience and emerged not broken, but stronger. And always she was there watching, calculating, perhaps reconsidering everything she had been taught about our species. The turning point. The final test came on the ashen fields of Kreldar, a battlefield scarred by energy storms and volcanic fissures. A rogue Vaelari faction had seized control of the planet, intending to overthrow Vaelari and claim independence. She called me forward. "This is no longer an experiment," she said. "If you fail, millions die. You still wish to fight." I nodded. My bones ached. My body bore new scars. But my resolve was absolute. The battle began. Energy beams lit the ash sky. I led squads through collapsing terrain, dodging falling debris, countering ambushes. At one point, a massive energy turret tore through my left arm, fracturing it instantly. I stopped, gritted my teeth, and realigned it on the spot. Soldiers froze, even Vaelari soldiers, watching a human laugh while bone and sinew snapped into place. Vaelari appeared beside me mid-battle, her pulse blade cutting a path through opposition. She had fought countless wars, commanded fleets that spanned solar systems, but she hesitated when she saw me standing upright again, smiling, a weapon in my hand despite every broken bone. "You are unlike any human I have ever seen," she said, voice low, almost reverent. "I told you," I said, adjusting my shoulder. "Pain is a guide, not a master." That day, we destroyed the rogue faction, liberated the planet, and secured Vaelari's rule without a single Vaelari casualty beyond what was necessary. Ending, respect earned. The aftermath changed everything. Vaelari summoned me to her personal chambers, a throne room carved from living crystal, glowing softly in hues of gold and violet. She gestured for me to sit. I remained standing. "You are remarkable," she said finally, after a long silence. "I thought humans weak. I thought you fragile. I was wrong." "I never thought I was fragile," I said simply. She studied me for a long moment. "Then I owe you respect. And trust. You may stand beside me, not as a subordinate, but as an equal." The words shook me. In the Vaelari Empire, no human had ever been offered such honor. Not as a warrior. Not as a diplomat. Not as a companion. In the following months, I continued to serve her, not as a tool, but as a partner. We trained together, strategized together, and learned from each other. I taught her to anticipate human ingenuity. She taught me to anticipate Vaelari discipline. The soldiers whispered. The galaxy watched. And the alien queen, feared across 6 sectors, found herself questioning everything she had assumed about humanity. I never stopped smiling when I healed myself. Not for vanity, not for pride, but to remind her and the galaxy that humans do not break. And Vaelari, well, she never underestimated us again.